Brutally honest, I mean, I think they are too far adrift. You know, I've been watching the team that I live beside, Bolton, and how they've climbed up the table steadily, and all of a sudden on Saturday they get beat 1-0 against Ipswich, and that stutters there. You know, it's all about consistency and hitting it at the right time, as we did at Hull City that year when we got promoted. But it was the strangest interview afterwards from Neil Warnock. It was almost resigning himself.
Tell me what you make of what Neil Warnock said. He's basically resigned to not being in the job. I'm not entirely convinced that he will last the season, and it just strikes me as a really unhealthy situation for that club to be in.
He was saying at the weekend, wasn't he, that if they don't get promoted, he's not going to be there. And he just said there that obviously they're playing catch-up, you know, and they desperately needed to win that game on Saturday to be in the running still to get in the playoffs. But the one thing about it now is, you know, I've worked with Neil, you know, and he says it as it is. I can't understand why he's come out and said that, you know, that, as you say, we're trying to get another manager in place, blah, 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 blah. The supporters won't accept that, you know, and the one thing about Neil is that, you know, he was going to retire when I played with him at Sheffield United, you know, so he'll carry on going, and he wants to manage back in the Premier League like they all do. They all want to get back in the Premier League.
It must be difficult for the players, Dean, when, say if they lost the next couple of games, then the manager goes, the new one comes in, your season's wrote off with 6, 7, 8 games to go. You know, for me, it's the Championship is such a competitive division that you don't write anything off, you know. As I said, Bolton won 5 games on the bounce. Instead of being relegation, they're talking about knocking at the door of the play.
But he said there, didn't he, if they win the next 2, then they're back in the game again. No, but the one thing about it is there, he's sort of, it looks as though, to me, for the first time ever in Neil Warnock's career, it looks as though he's give up. You know, and he's thinking, yeah, we've got beat now, we're playing catch-up anyway. If we'd have won today, then we've still got an opportunity, but we haven't won today. You know, let's try getting somebody else in.
Brief word, if and when Neil goes, you'd fancy that, wouldn't you, Phil?
For me, it's one of the biggest clubs. I mean, we used to have a bit of banter when Hull City were riding high above Leeds United. We used to say we were the biggest club in Yorkshire, but if you look at Leeds' history, you know, European success and being in the Premier League many years, and it's a fabulous club, great opportunity.
Great training ground, facilities, everything's in place for it, really.
OK, well, still a big club, even if results aren't going their way. Let's take a look at the rest of the action, actually.